Hi friends, hope you are doing well. I'm Dr. Ganguly. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about the public Ivy League schools, and there are many people who always want to know about good universities in the US where they can do bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, PhD, even postdoc, and they often want to know the name of some of these universities. Now, of course, you know that the Ivy League universities are very famous. This is a selection of 8 universities which are world renowned, and many people aspire to get here. But what happens with these universities is that these are private universities, these are very small universities, they have student bodies numbering in the thousands, and therefore there are only very few positions out there, very few seats out there. The admission criteria are extremely competitive. You need to be superlative in terms of SAT score, ACT score, your CGPA, and also in terms of your extracurricular activities and so on. And very often you need to show some kind of combination of merit and means and a life experience which merits your getting into the Ivy League university. So for people who do not know, I'm going to give you the list of these universities starting with B and ending with Y. And this is Brown University, Columbia University, Cornell University, Dartmouth College, Harvard University, University of Pennsylvania, Princeton University, and Yale University. So, of course, most people are very familiar with these colleges, particularly some colleges such as Harvard, Yale, and so on. And therefore, many people try to get into them. Now, one of the problems of getting into these colleges is there are some barriers to entry, like there is something known as legacy admissions, where the children of alumni and also donors get preference in terms of getting into these universities. So that is something to keep in mind. Also, if you belong to certain particular ethnic groups, then what happens is that you may be too much represented in the student body, and therefore what may happen is that you may be not able to get into the Ivy League system. But all is not lost here, because there are a plethora of public universities which are almost at par with the Ivy League. So let's discuss these universities. Now, the genesis of this particular list comes from some literature which is out there. So there was a guy named Richard Moll, and he wrote a book in 1985 called The Public Ivies. And this book essentially gave a list of 15 schools or 15 universities, including universities such as University of California at Berkeley, University of Michigan, UCLA, University of Virginia, and so on. And he propounded that these universities were a good value for money, and they were also at par with the Ivy League universities in terms of the research, in terms of the teaching, in terms of the curriculum, and so on. Now, in 2001, this list was expanded. There is the Green Sky 2 educational planning, and this list was expanded to 30 public universities. So this list is very useful, because what happens is that as far as the public universities are concerned, the tuition may be $20,000 per year, maximum $30,000 per year. In some case, it may be as low as $10,000 per year. And what happens with the Ivy League universities is that the tuition may be $60,000 per year, even $80,000 per year, and it keeps going up more and more. So unless you are somebody who has a lot of money, maybe you have very wealthy parents, then it's difficult to often get into these Ivy League universities. Now, do remember that if you are somebody who is living in a particular state, you often qualify for what is known as in-state tuition. And this in-state tuition for a public university or state university is often much less than the out-of-state tuition. And even the out-of-state tuition may be much less than what you may have to pay at the Ivy League university. So I have seen in the case of many people, some of my young relatives, that they have often gone to top level public universities which are in this particular list. So let's begin with this greens list, and this list I'm going to talk about is basically from B to W. So it's not in any ranked system, but it is in a list which is in the alphabetical order. So let's begin. So there is Binghamton University in New York, there is Indiana University in Bloomington, Miami University in Ohio, Michigan State University, Ohio State University, Pennsylvania State University, Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, University of Arizona, University of California at Berkeley, University of California at Davis, University of California at Irvine, University of California at Los Angeles, University of California at San Diego, University of California at Santa Barbara. So it's very interesting that California actually has a lot of these public top universities, and many people think about leaving California because of extremely high prices and so on. But one thing to keep in mind is that if you are somebody who wants your children to get admission into some of the good public universities, California may be a good place to be. So let's continue with this list. That's University of Colorado Boulder, University of Connecticut, University of Delaware, University of Florida, University of Georgia, University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, University of Iowa, University of Maryland at College Park. This is the university where I went to for doing my PhD degree. So I have very nice memory of this university. Then continue with University of Michigan. Now this is also a very good university, and I did my postdoc here or sabbatical under the Fulbright Fellowship. So next is University of Minnesota, Twin Cities, University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, University of Texas at Austin, University of Virginia, University of Washington at Seattle, University of Wisconsin, Madison, and William and Mary College in Virginia. So in each of these cases, either from the name of the university or from the state or city I have mentioned, you can figure out the particular geographical location here. Now, if you are somebody who is staying in a nearby state, maybe you can think about moving to this state, and after some time you may qualify for the in-state tuition. So that's something to keep in mind. And in many cases, if you are also a foreign student, you may think about applying to some of these universities near which your relatives stay. So nowadays there are a lot of people around the world, and these people have relatives in the US. So if you are somebody like that, then you can ask your uncle or aunt out there, or your brother or somebody else, as to whether they live in these universities and whether they are near these universities. That can often save you a lot of cost in terms of your living and boarding expenses. So this particular list is extremely useful because you will also realize that these public universities often have much lower requirements in terms of SAT scores, in terms of ACT scores, in terms of GRE scores, and so on, and even in terms of the various GPA measures and other metrics. And very often they may even not require you to write too many letters of recommendation or have some kind of superlative record in terms of extracurricular activities. Now, what many people do is that they spend a lot of time in creating a very good list of things which they do. So they spend time learning various things such as violin, such as piano, going around the world trying to help people in third world countries or developing countries, and taking part in a lot of non-governmental activities, a lot of voluntary activities to buttress their resume. But a lot of these things are not of any good unless they are done from your heart. There is no point in padding your resume just because you want to get admission into a certain university. So it is better to be the authentic person who you are and think about applying to the nearby good public university, especially if it is in one of the lists which I mentioned in my YouTube channel.